What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of our iRacing NASCAR AI career mode here on the channel. Hope you're all having a great day. Today we are landing here in Talladega, Alabama, ready for some Talladega Super Speedway racing, what is sure to be a bit of a wild one today. No big news coming into this episode. We stayed out of trouble in the last episode in Bristol. We had a respectable 11th place finish, just shy of a top 10 after an absolutely insane race. It was a wreck fest, so I was just glad to survive that now. I didn't really put any laps down in practice, so we kind of jumped straight into the action here in qualifying. Well, I say action, but it's Talladega qualifying. There's not much to it. You put the throttle down, you turn left a few times, and you hope that your car goes fast. And you know what? We had some decent speed in this Monster Energy Menards Ford Mustang. Beautiful paint scheme here made by my friend RJ, and we were coming through the trial now to see where we were going to cross the line. It was 2 laps that we had. I only ended up doing 1 lap. I felt like I wouldn't go faster on the 2nd lap, so we would end up 9th place on the grid with Denny Hamlin actually on the pole, with Kyle Larson joining him on the front row. Those two drivers been so fast this season. But P9 top 10 start, very actually happy with that here for what is going to be, I'm sure, a bit of a chaotic race here in Talladega. Let's send it to Alan Bailey.
One of the most famous speedways in the world, it's Talladega. I'm Alan Bailey with live coverage on ARN. Today, the NASCAR Cup Series takes to the high banks in Alabama, originally opened back in 1969 after Big Bill decided Daytona wasn't big enough. He wanted to go bigger, and he certainly did. It was a controversial race back in 1969 that saw most of the Cup Series stars boycott the race, but it made way for new talent, including future Hall of Famer Darrell Waltrip. Located at the site of a former Air Force base, this speedway is surrounded by old abandoned airstrips, including one in the infield. And now, the infield is legendary for its wild parties. As Jaws likes to put it, it's going to come down to co-opetition. That's cooperating with your competition. Who will master the high banks of Dega today? We're about to find out.
Shout out, as usual, to Alan Bailey, who does the pre-race introductions. Hope you guys enjoy those. Now, as the pace car is off, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, ready to lead the field to the green. Without the restart zones, you'll notice they go quite early here, and we are already underway from Talladega Super Speedway, going to experiment with restart zones very soon, actually, in the All-Star Race weekend coming up at North Wilkesboro, which we will be having it here in the iRacing career mode like they have it in real life in 2023. So, one season early in the iRacing career mode. However, I am certainly not going to Texas. Actually, Texas doesn't have AI, so that's one of the main reasons. So we can't even go to it if we wanted to, and who would want to do that in the first place here? As you can see, all the 35 or so cars heading down this back straightaway. You're going to notice throughout this episode things changing very quick. With the pack racing here in iRacing, it is probably one of the more unrealistic ones right now in NASCAR racing games, actually. It's consistently 3x3x3x3 and a lot of 4-wide scenarios as well. You don't get that in the next gen car, and this is all you're going to see in this episode, really. So you're going to see a ton of shuffling. You're going to see me leading 1 lap. You're going to see me 35th 2 laps later. That's just simply how it's going to go in this episode, and it's going to be the exact same for not only myself, but for the AI as well. You're going to see Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, Michael McDowell going up into the top 5, and then they'll be back in the bottom 5 within 2 laps after that. So you're going to notice a lot of things changing very quickly throughout this video here, and an example of that is myself now in the very back of the pack, jumping up to the outside here in Stage 1. Stage 1, by the way, concludes at the end of lap 12, so we are very much so working with a good chunk of time in Stage 1 here with the way you can, of course, make things work here in Talladega. Look at this. We have now pushed BJ McLeod to the front of the pack, and all of a sudden, just like that, we are all of a sudden in the battle for the lead of this race. They're passing Kevin Harvick right here. We're up into 2nd place, so I want to lead a lap here, so I'm going to jump out of line and actually pass BJ McLeod, and we're going to come through to lead our first lap of the day here in Talladega. And of course, we have been having our ups and downs, and right now we're outside of the playoffs, not too far outside of the playoffs. A really good day in Talladega, maybe some stage points, a top 10 finish. we could find ourselves in a playoff position once again. So I was certainly not kind of coming into this race with the Daytona approach. I was coming into this race with the attack. Let's get some stage points. In Daytona, if you remember, I rode around a lot in the back in stage 1 and 2, and it really just didn't go until late in the race, and obviously it didn't quite work out for us there, but this time the goal is different. Let's run up front, let's try to get some stage points, and even maybe win a stage or two. You see myself there on the inside. I was working with my teammate of Ryan Blaney and giving him a nice shove there down this back straightaway. Hopefully next season we will be legitimate 100% teammates if we can get to a 4th car on Penske Racing instead of being in the 21 car, however. But nonetheless, you can see the consistent, once again, shuffling that I'm doing here now. Now we jump up to the outside, the 3rd lane. Look at the speed, 201 miles per hour as we head down into turn 3, and just like that, we're all over the back of that Violet Defense machine driven by Christopher Buescher. There's 2 Violet Defense cars here in the grid, and that's both Buescher and his teammate of Brad Keselowski, who's right now going 3 wide to my outside. So as we were approaching the final lap of stage 1, we were caught 3 wide in the middle here, unfortunately. Now is Joey Hand, Kyle Larson, they're all up here in the mix as well, but down the back straightaway, things would materialize in our favor, and it was just myself and Kyle Larson on the outside, and all of a sudden we're leading the outside line as we're going to get a shove from Larson's teammate of Chase Elliott in that UniFirst Chevrolet Camaro. Here comes Alex Bowman. Hendrick Motorsports is engulfing us here, but we take the lead down this front straightaway. We might get our first stage win of our Cup Series career as we stay in the middle. No pressure from Bowman or Larson or Elliott. We're going to come through to win stage 1. 4 wide at the line behind us as Todd Gilliland got up into the mix, but the stage is over. We are officially a stage winner in the NASCAR Cup Series. Very, very happy with that. We would come into the pit lane where I would make a slight mistake there and actually overshoot my pit box, so we would end up being a little bit slow, and I would actually exit out of the pit lane in 2nd place. But we are officially a stage winner here in the Cup Series as everybody came into the pit lane for once. That's a rare sight where everybody pits, and now we would get ready for the start of stage 2. And now I was not happy about missing my pit box or overshooting it because I can't control the restart, so I don't know where Chase Elliott's going to go, and you can see the effect of that when you're on the front row. He caught me completely off guard here. Chase Elliott's going to get past us, and so is Alex Bowman before we even cross the start-finish line. Ryan Preece up here in the top 5. He got some stage points. Ryan Preece had a very, very strong effort last episode in Bristol, so he is certainly doing himself some favors, and what is crazy now is it's been announced actually between the last episode and now, he is actually going to be driving the 41 car in real life in the 2023 season, so we kind of predicted the future, and that's not the first time I've done that on the channel. I've done that in the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode as well, so it's always cool when you kind of make these little kind of fantasy moves and then they end up coming true. But however, you can see us again 3 wide on the outside, just going all over the place, going back and forth to the front, to the back, to the middle of the pack. We're literally everywhere now. I'm engulfed in the middle here. We were 4 wide in the middle between Almirola, Byron, and whatnot, just trying to stay out of trouble. And then it got to a point where I had said, okay, it's getting a little bit too chaotic, I'm going to back out. So I actually went to the back of the pack. Stage 2 doesn't end until the conclusion of lap 26. So basically the halfway point of this race is when stage 2 ends. But look at this, 4 wide in front of us. You got one of our Alliance teammates there of Austin Cindric. You got Joey Hand, Alex Bowman, Justin Haley, Bubba Wallace up my inside here as well. But things just continue to shuffle around, and we were right here in this 4 wide battle. We have about 3, 4, 5 rows of 4 wide racing here, and it's crazy because the racing is so insane in Talladega with the AI, but they never crash. Like, it's crazy how they do not crash. So as crazy as it looks, it's actually not that all exciting because the AI are so stupidly good and on rails that they just don't run into each other and they don't crash unless I myself make an error at this type of racing here. Now you see them crash in other races, but for some reason, for whatever reason, the pack racing, they're just unbelievably good at making sure that they don't touch any other cars. I think I saw one bit of contact early in this race, and that was literally it here now. But you can see the battles continuing. You can see now, as we came to this final lap of stage 2, that we're back into the mix for the stage win, pushing my favorite driver, Daniel Suarez, to the lead of the race. But he's going to jump down to the inside. I don't want to go down to the inside, so we stay right here and blow the doors off of that CommScope number 99. And now here comes Joey Hand to my rear bumper. I need to throw a bit of a block on him as we're looking to go go back-to-back stage victories here in Talladega Super Speedway. And here comes Tyler Reddick to my back bumper, but watch up top, 3 wide to the outside. It's Ross the Boss Chastain who's trying to get up into the mix. Hand clears us, and we drop back considerably. Ross Chastain's going to steal the stage victory. BJ McLeod up there in the mix again. He's been actually surprisingly strong today in Talladega, and Ross Chastain is going to win stage 2. So we get our first stage win of our career and of the season. Ross Chastain does the same here, getting his first stage win of the season. Nobody this time comes into the pit lane, so everybody pitted at the end of stage 1, nobody at the end of stage 2. Everybody can make it to the end of this race. So now we were getting ready to go green from P7. A little bit of work to be done here, but obviously it's all just about timing and luck really here as the sun is slowly starting to set. And I actually get caught sleeping on this restart even more than stage 2 because I actually only downshifted to 3rd gear for the restart, so I did not get going at all. I had to jump back down to 2nd, but by the time I did, it was too late, and now it's just simply damage control as we work our way back up through the RPMs and through the gears. Not long until I would jump up to the middle lane here. This is down the back straightaway, and there you see Ryan Preece, Kurt Busch, Ty Dillon as well. Ty Dillon has had a way better season here in iRacing than he did in the 2022 season IRL. He's actually not far out of a playoff position, and for the first few races of the season was in the playoffs actually, in that top 16 here. Now in Talladega, we know today, as we're 4 wide out of turn 4 in the middle, but we know today is a prime opportunity for a surprise winner. We've only had 1 plate race this season, and that was the Daytona 500. Chase Elliott would actually win that race, but we know Talladega, we see a lot more surprise winners at times at Talladega, so very well can see that here today and maybe get a surprise playoff entry, or maybe it's going to be a driver that'll be below the top 30 in the points and it won't matter. But you can see us now passing Kurt Busch, taking the lead again, and once again as usual, just as quick as we take the lead, well, we lose it, because here comes Kyle Busch to my outside, Justin Haley, Bubba Wallace, Joey Hand, Ryan Preece, everybody you can think of is just engulfing us here on that middle to outside lane. And I would eventually get back up to the outside here, 15 laps to go, but you can see how far back I was, and I did kind of like I did in the middle of stage 2, take a bit of a breather. You know, it's crazy, although they're not gonna crash. Everybody's so close with the 3 and 4 wide, so I was just trying to calm down a little bit before I would make one more push to, of course, try and get towards the front and get into the battle for this race victory. And now with 10 laps to go, it was go time at this point, obviously, and you can see ourselves now already back up inside the top 5. It's stupidly crazy how you could just work your way towards the front in a heartbeat, and I was all of a sudden side by side for the lead with Ty Dillon again. But here goes Tyler Reddick with a huge shove from the 38, fellow rookie of Todd Gilliland. We're battling with him for Rookie of the Year, as well as Jay Cook and Austin Cindric, all 4 of us going for the Rookie of the Year trophy this season here. Now is contact right there with the 6th of Keselowski, who seemed to not be able to decide where he wanted to go and eventually decided to come across the nose of me, but I was already coming in there with a full head of steam. We ran to the back of him, and fortunately it did not result in an accident. Now here we are coming to just 7 laps to go, and still right up in the battle, in the top 5, in the top 3, side by side with Ty Dillon. We're going to lead another lap. We've led a decent chunk of laps here. Our alliance teammate Ryan Blaney tucks in behind us, so now working with the 12, but again down the back straightaway. The outside we leave uncovered, and you can see the result. McDowell, Truex, Suarez, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin I think's up in there, Kyle Busch, a lot of Joe Gibbs Racing right now up there in the mix, but we would fall way down the order again. But you know, I wasn't concerned, because I feel like with the way that the shuffling works in this pack, you can go from 30th to 1st in about 2 laps. So I really wasn't concerned until literally 2 laps ago, where I was running here, contact actually with the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. briefly down the back straightaway. Fortunately, that didn't turn into anything either there. That was all on me, just kind of gliding down into him. And now into turn 3, we're into the outside wall even, so a couple of errors really quick, but fortunately it doesn't result in anything. So we continue on this outside lane now behind the 47, working with Stenhouse after moments ago making contact with them, but Harvick would actually get in between myself and that 47. We have just 2 laps to go. We talked about the 2 laps to go. That's where it's now 100% go time. Here you go, 3 wide in the middle between the 4 and the 7, and I realized very quick that wasn't doing anything, and I wanted to try and help my alliance teammate Ryan Blaney, but it's not going anywhere. So I jump up to the outside where I have another Penske alliance teammate, Joey Logano, right behind us there as well. Now, as if the path clears for us, then we're gonna have a chance to win this race, because look at this, as we approach the final lap, we are closing in. We are now towards the top 10, and this outside lane is moving very quickly. Tyler Reddick on the inside leading, Christopher Bell in the middle leading, Stenos on the top leading, white flag in the air. If we can just get Stenos out of the outside line and put Harvick as the leader, I think we'll have a very good chance to go and win this race here now, as we have 3/4 of a lap to go. Kyle Larson in the HendrickCars.com motor number 5 Hendrick Motorsports car just behind myself. Stenos drops down. It's perfect case scenario for us. We're gonna get to the back of the 4 subway machine of Harvick, give him a huge push down this back straightaway, and Harvick, I'm gonna hang him out to dry, side draft him, take the lead as we head down into turn 3. Here comes Kyle Larson trying to look to my left rear quarter panel, not quite able to get there. He's gonna jump to the outside. We're gonna protect him, and here comes BJ McLeod to the inside now, and he's actually gonna get all the way to the yellow line. I couldn't cover that one, and now Logano to the back bumper of our number 21 at the tri-oval.
Through the tri-oval, McLeod, Owens, side by side at the line. BJ gets it by 9/1000ths of a second. Another photo finish at Talladega. BJ McLeod gets his first NASCAR Cup Series victory. Boy, I never thought I'd say that. Unbelievable.
Unbelievably close finish, 9/1000ths of a second. That gap between myself and McLeod. BJ McLeod is a NASCAR Cup Series winner, and we were a blink of an eye close to winning our first Cup Series race and locking ourselves potentially into the playoffs. However, runner-up it is. We had a great day here in Talladega as the sun starts to set. We, of course, had stage points. We won a stage. We had a fast car. Number 21 was unbelievably quick here today, but it wasn't quite enough here. As you see, the finishing order in P2, right behind that number 78 of BJ McLeod. We talked about it. A surprise winner. Very possible here in Talladega, and we got it. However, McLeod is not in the top 30 in the points. So as of right now, that does not affect the playoff grid whatsoever unless it gets into the top 30. Look at that, Kyle Busch all the way down there in 34th. Chastain with a rough finish after winning stage 2. And we'll take a look, of course, at the point standings before we wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. Thank you all for taking the time of your day for watching. Here is the point standings on your screen. Everybody in green in the playoffs. And look at this, with such a good day on points, we are in the playoffs by 8 points to the good over Chase Briscoe. You see Haley, Harvick, Suarez, Kozlowski, Ty Dillon, Bubba Wallace. Those are the group of drivers we're paying attention to. That's just outside of it. Jay Cook way down the order there. But however, so far, a good kind of positive outcome for us to look forward to here in the future. And now we would take off from the runway from Talladega and head towards Dover Raceway. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everybody.